Hello, everybody. How we doing today? So, Remy and I were gonna log in here and play earlier this morning, very early, like 10 hours ago, and I was gonna do video then, but then real life shit got in the way of everything, so I kind of had to deal with that all day, and now it's all kind of, whatever, sort of taken care of, so I can focus on fun things instead. And I decided, hey, might as well do this update now because it's looking to be very interesting. So I thought I would come in here and talk about that. And let's see if I can actually pull it up on here. That would be very nice, but I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah, it's not going to let me, so that's fine. But we can talk about it here because the developers announced a whole bunch of updates this morning. So this will be interesting, actually. So the first announcement is the server disconnection bots are on their way right away. So that's kind of cool. Now, I mean, I'm Bot Whisperer, so obviously I like bots, but this is bots in actual online matches against other human players. So when they quit out, we're going to get, they're just going to be replaced by a bot now, and there'll be an AI character taking over, which I think will be really good. Actually, it doesn't specify, I don't think. It just says that they're, they're just going to be replaced, right? The person still who disconnects still loses their blood points, etc., etc. However, this does still give the the killer the fourth opponent that they have to continue to take after, because personally I've noticed a lot too, whether it's somebody who runs no mither and gets downed first in the match and quits out, which is always makes me wonder why people even bother to run no mither, because they almost always quit out for me, it seems. But yeah, now when you down somebody in the first 30 seconds of a match and they DC, and then all their friends start following suit. I mean, I'm honestly curious to see what'll happen eventually, and how many online matches turn into online bot matches, to be perfectly honest. It'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes, because there have been matches like that where everybody's DC'd. Wormy's had a couple of them, actually. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see that going forward. I think everybody's in consensus that it's a great idea. I don't think it's going to be a problem, because people are like, oh, well, then we're going to have a stupid bot. Well, having a stupid bot at 5 gens is probably better than having only 3 survivors trying to fix 5 gens. Am I right? Because at least that bot will be, at the very least, a meat shield to, be hunted down and killed by the killer, while you guys try to focus on other things. And if you guys are focusing on looping the killer, then the bots will absolutely be fixing gens, because that's pretty much their base fucking goal. I play against the bots quite frequently, and yeah, man, they fucking do their gens fast. Like, they don't fuck around. So it'll be really interesting. It doesn't say in the update, though, as to whether the bot will inherit the perks of the person who left. So that's actually what I'm kind of curious about. Like if I downed, say last night, I think it was David that I downed and he DC'd right away. So it's like, boom, down. Will he just become a bot while he's on the ground? And will he become just a bot copy of the survivor that left? I'm very curious about that. Or if it will just be like, poof, he's slate is wiped clean and he's somebody else now. I don't know. So that I'm curious about, to see how that'll turn out, and we all know what's going to happen pretty quickly, given how often people freaking DC, and the fact they lose all their blood points. I mean, it's a win on all ends. So that's pretty cool. They also said, of course, they're still working to up the bot AI to keep the bot AI more intelligent. So I mean, yeah. So all the people could be like, great, they're stupid, blah, blah, blah. But the bots are actually pretty smart, so we'll see how that goes. Then next, we have got... Oh yeah, reporting people. Reporting people is now going to have a feedback thing. So if you report somebody in the end game for whatever the reason, if action is actually taken against them, you will be shown a pop-up message when you log in. Poof, such and such a player has been dealt with, and it'll be interesting to see how many of those things go, heated, and how many, if any, people start realizing that, hey, behavior's not doing anything about my shit, about every time I report someone. Well, if they're not doing anything about it every time you report somebody, then maybe you don't actually have something to be reporting. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. In the next update, you'll notice a window appear when logging in if one or more of your reports has led to a person being banned. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. The message will show you the date of the player ban and the reason that they were banned. Note that if the player gets banned and unbanned multiple times, you as the reporter will only get notified for the report you submitted. So if you report somebody for like hacking or cheating, let's say, and then they get banned for that, and then they, I don't know how long it is, like what is it, 24 hours probably, that's usually the way it is. But, so let's say they come back, or even if it's a week, they come back a week later, they start playing, they start hacking again, somebody bans them again, and then they end up getting like perma-banned or something. You won't get an update about that because you weren't involved in that. So, I mean, that makes sense, obviously. It's not gonna let you keep tabs on people you don't like. That's the best way to sum that up. And that's good too, because you don't need to know that. But chances are, if your ban, or if your report led to them getting a ban, other people's reports will lead to them getting a ban as well. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and here's some really, the first of the really big news. A little over a year ago, Sadako, the Onryo, Samara as I call her because I'm a Westerner and it's the ring for me, not Ringu, or whatever the fuck it's called over there. She made her appearance, and I actually bought her DLC like at launch because I loved the movie The Ring, and I was like, I want to play as fucking Samara. Like, who the hell wouldn't? Well, it turns out a lot of people, because her powers were actually, in the long run, despite maining her for quite a while, her powers are actually shit. But she's getting a massive amount of buffs, which is awesome. So expect to start seeing a lot more of the Onryo. Let's see, what is she going to do? She's going to have, when she is demanifested, she can project herself into any TVs around the map. And this is traditionally. When she projects and crawls out of a TV, any survivors in the immediate area become inflicted with one little notch of condemned. They call it a stack, but whatever. So one stack of condemned. But this is where they're making the changes. Projecting the TV now applies 3/4 of a stack, don't ask me why, but whatever, 3/4 of a stack of condemned to every survivor on the map who is not carrying a videotape at the time. Because that's always been her biggest thing, is her real power. It's kind of like the pig. The pig puts a trap on your head, which literally forces you to do nothing but try to get that thing off your head. Because if somebody fixes a generator, it starts the timer for your death, right? And you don't want that. So that's something where the pig has a leg up on say the Onryo, because survivors have actually no reason to start pulling tapes out. Other than to try, like, if you're like 80% on a gen, you're pretty sure she's going to teleport through that TV right there. You just go pull the tape out. You get, condemned, which slowly starts filling up. But it pretty much gives you the chance you need to finish this generator, right? But the problem is that other than that, nobody uses videotapes. I have only really just started using them. Again, like I said, when fixing a generator and I feel like it's very close to being completed, I will go pull the tape out and then go finish the generator, and then I'll go put the tape in whatever TV I'm supposed to, right? So that's not going to be the way it is anymore. Everybody gets condemned the second she teleports, which is insane. So everybody's going to get the huge portion of the first little tick mark on it, and every time she transports and you don't have a videotape in your hand, you're gonna get another stack of condemned, which is crazy. You might say, well, she's just gonna teleport everywhere. No, because they're knocking it back, so she can only teleport every 15 seconds, and that's actually quite a bit. Especially if she finds someone, she's gonna want to get on a chase. She's still has her limitations, right? And if they're holding a tape, they're not getting afflicted with it at all. So it's definitely giving you much more reason to pull a tape out of the machine and be holding on to it so that she can't just willy-nilly inflict and condemn everybody on the map, right? Also, the thing is, if you have pulled the tape, if every survivor pulls one tape out, that's 5 teleportation spots she can't use. So it's not like you just pull the tape and she teleports to you anyway. No, she can't teleport. So it's actually better to be pulling the tapes out than it is to be just not taking them anymore, which is really cool. I actually applaud that. That's a really good idea. The time of TV is disabled, so after she comes out of the TV, it has been reduced. So it will no longer be offline for 100 seconds. It will be reduced to 70 seconds. So there's going to be 30 seconds less for that. Because originally, if you project through a TV, the time it takes to repair one generator is less than it takes for that TV to become a usable teleportation spot again. So they've reduced that to 70 seconds, which is under a gen, which is really good. And this can also be further reduced using her add-ons, which makes sense. So again, she's going to be a lot more, she's going to be jumping around a lot more frequently. The time a TV is disabled. Oh, we already talked about. Oh, wait, no. The time a TV is disabled after a survivor removes the tape. So if I just go up to the TV, she hasn't come through, and I remove the tape to switch the TV off, rather than it being 90 seconds, which again is the duration of a generator, it is now 60 seconds. So if she sees a tape is off, it's going to lead to all kinds of new strategies for survivors and killers, because now when you see a TV go off, first of all, you know there's somebody there, but also that you have, if they're working on a generator that's over there and they haven't started it yet, before they can finish that generator, you'll be able to teleport to that television, right? And if you're in a chase, that gives you 60 seconds. Take that person down, get their ass on a hook, and be ready to do that teleportation, right? So again, that's a good thing. And as we said, projection has a 15-second cooldown, so that's pretty cool. Let's get to the next portion here. There's a bunch for her, actually. The cursed tapes have become more dangerous as well. Holding the cursed tape may protect you from the condemned effect when she projects through the TV, but they do come with their own risks. If you're hit with a basic attack while you're carrying a tape, you will, on top of being injured, get another tick and you're condemned, right? So that's actually really dangerous. So you're not going to want to hold on to a tape for too long either. It's a scenario where you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, which is honestly the way it should be. So if you're holding a tape, she can project through a TV somewhere else on the map. She may not know where you are, but you're still, because you're carrying the tape, you're not afflicted with the condemned. However, if she does cross your path before you get rid of that tape, she can hit you and give you a full tick of the condemned, which you wouldn't have even got if you had just taken the projection hit. So it's kind of like, what do you want to do? Like, make your choice, quite literally. Like, do you want to run the risk of being condemned through her teleportations, which could happen every 15 seconds, which could be much more lethal than just taking the hit while you're holding a tape, right? So it's going to be interesting. When a survivor carrying a cursed tape is hooked, all other survivors gain 1 stack of condemned and the tape is destroyed. So if she's carrying a tape, she gets thrown on the hook, her tape vanishes, and she gets a full another stack of condemned. So if you're thinking about that, that's actually pretty crazy, because she'll hit you the first time and you're going to gain a stack. Like, let's say you're holding the tape, right? So boom, she hits you once, now you've got 1 tick on your condemned. Then she hits you a second time to down you. That's 2 ticks of condemned, because theoretically you're still holding the tape. Then she throws you on the hook, your tape vanishes, but you gain a third stack from Condemned. That's 1/3 of your total lifespan spent. And because your tape vanished, you'll have to leave, find a TV, pop the tape out, and then go to another TV to deposit that. So that's going to be really dangerous, especially if she's coming after you because she knows you're unhooked and you're carrying that thing. And she can tell when your Condemned gets maxed out. She's not going to pass up on the opportunity to splatter your ass. So that's pretty cool. Holding a cursed tape no longer passively builds Condemned. So this is the trade-off. So because she can hit you while you're holding it and inflict Condemned, holding the tape now doesn't cause the meter to slowly, gradually build up with Condemned. So that's the trade-off. So you can pull the tape and not have to rush to go and get rid of your tape, because that's the problem too with me. It's like I said, if I'm finishing a generator, I'll go pull the tape out and I'll work really hard to finish that generator, because if I don't get that finished, I have to get my ass usually clear across the map in order to, because that's how far away they almost always spawn. That's the TV, the one TV that you can insert your tape into to clear your Condemned. So, holding that tape now will no longer inflict you with the Condemned. You can just pull up your tape, get to work on the generator, and just hope you don't get hit holding your tape while she's coming, right? So, cursed tapes can now be placed in any TV other than the one they were retrieved from. So as I had just said, you pull the tape out and then usually across the map, it spawns one TV in white. That's the TV you have to insert your tape in, the specific one to cure your Condemned, right? Now you can literally throw it into any TV. Because again, if she finds you, she can hit you and just spam you with Condemned, right? So they're giving you the trade-off is that, well, you can plop it in there, but if there's a TV just up inside the cold fucking building or whatever, you can just run upstairs and plop the tape in there and you'll be fine. So that's the trade-off. So they're not completely screwing survivors over. So yeah, the idea is taking a cursed tape is now a strategic choice you will need to make. The protection it offers may be beneficial for now, but it is much more punishing if you were caught carrying it. You know, as I said, you'll want to plan carefully and get rid of your tape if you fear she's on her way to you. So yeah. Demanifestation. So that means when she's in ghost form. So if she crawls out through a TV, she becomes solid enough that she can hit. But her, like the Wraith, she can turn herself invisible, so to speak, right? So that's when you see her flickering like she's a TV image that's popping in and out of reality. While she's in that state now, she can no longer be stunned. So if you slam a pallet in her face, the pallet won't do shit. She'll just stand there and poof, the pallet will drop and you won't get anything on her. Chases are, however, prevented when demanifested, making it difficult to keep track of her position as well, because she's silent when she's in there. Like, you can see her and you can see her moving, but because the chase music does not start, you're going to see a lot more instances of her, I think, when you're on a gen, kind of like Myers or Ghosty, where they're just suddenly on you, and she's just going to suddenly come, manifest. You hear her when she manifests. So I think you're going to see it a lot more where she's just manifesting beside you and you're in serious shit. Demanifesting now removes bloodlust, similar to other killer powers. So if she teleports in, she won't maintain bloodlust anymore, which, again, is a point to the survivor's favor. Lastly, we have Dead Balancing passes on the Onryo's add-ons, bringing her highest and lowest performing add-ons closer in line with the rest of the options. So overall balancing throughout all of her add-ons, which I think will be great for her because she needs the boost. She's really one of the craziest things, because it's like a lot of people say, I think the most efficient player online or whatever, I saw a video about it, with the most efficient Onryo player went up against one of the most efficient Swifts, and he managed to get a 2K on them with her using no hooks, but simply downing them and inflicting Condemned and then killing them with the Mori involving the Condemned. So it's one of those, like, okay. It is a very interesting way of playing, but I tried it out to minimal success, but again, I think it's just like anything else. It's one of those things you would need to do it a lot. But I didn't care to do it because it was too annoying. Just teleport, 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 down, down, teleport, teleport. Like, it was just like, bleh. So, yeah. Okay, oh yeah, here's a really, really, really big one for survivors. Hook grabs. Hook grabs are no longer a thing. They're going to be taken away. So if the killer walks up to you while you're unhooking, he actually cannot just grab you at full health and throw you over the shoulder and put you in the dying state. It won't happen anymore. He can only hack you and injure you. So this, I mean, for me, this is honestly a mixed bag. Playing with predominantly as killer myself, hook grabs are very fucking important sometimes, because especially during an end game, for example, like I could show you probably matches I have from my streams or just even individual matches where hook grabs can turn the fucking tide. Because you can hook someone in the basement, they pop the final generator, they get their exit gates to 99%, all three of them heal up and they're coming back because, I mean, they're a good team, so they're going to come for their basement save now. You basically have to injure everybody because as they're coming in, there's not going to be an ability to just sort of camp the hook, stand there while they, you know, oh, I'm going to grab him, right? And then finally when they actually go, then the killer grabs them. There's a lot of my matches, if you go in and look, I just stand there while they try to psych me out, and then one comes on the other side, and they're both doing it, and they're both, like, trying to psych me out. It's like, who's going to go for it first, right? And either I catch someone with the hook grab or I don't. That's not even going to be a possibility. Now, if everybody swarms the hook, your only option as a killer is going to be to hack down as many people as is possible, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it's like they said, it's a very awkward gameplay. This also makes it possible for a face camping killer to potentially defend the hook survivor and put a second survivor in the dying state while they're at it, which, yeah, fair enough, but at the same time, if you're going to try to unhook someone near the killer, I feel like, you know, that's your chance, right? But so anyway, they're removing hook grabs. In practice, it means that the mini game that people are so fond of now, where you try to psych each other out, just can't happen anymore. So if I see you going for a hook, I'm just going to run at you and I'm going to hack you, and you're going to keep running over there. Your friends will probably body block, and I'll have to start hacking everybody I can to try to get one down again. So yeah, I'm a little on the fence about this myself, because sometimes that end game grab, I can actually think of one match in particular I had with the Deathslinger where we were on Haddonfeld, and these guys just fucking destroyed me. They were cocky as fuck, and they were and I got a 2K in the end. The reason I got a 2K was simple. The one ass hat was in the exit gate teabagging, and I came around the corner and I harpooned the son of a bitch, and I fucking reeled his ass all the way out. And the others were all at the other exit gate because he was all alone and he was all cocky and he decided to stay. I harpooned him and I dragged his ass back, and boom, down he went because he was injured. There was a hook right around the corner, threw his ass on it. Only Mia came back to rescue him. She went for the hook rescue. I grabbed her off the hook, flopped her on the ground, and that was it. The other two immediately left. So boom, 2K. I would not have got that if I had to hack them, because I would have hacked her, she would have gone for the unhooking, and then the usual thing that they do is the person unhooked takes the hit for their rescuer. I mean, we're just going to have a lot more scenarios where you have to make sure you land those things. But we're absolutely now going to see, I think, and as a killer, this is my biggest one, you know, I don't want to say a pet peeve, so to speak, but this is one of those things where because the end game doesn't end, because survivors don't open the exit gates, you're just going to have full-on, if you're a killer and you're losing a match and you have only your one hook, you're not really going to be able to defend that now, because all of them will just swarm around the hook. You won't be able to get any hits, and every time you hit, they just take off. It's going to be almost impossible to fucking down one more person. And even now, you down them and they all swarm around each other, and they stand and they start healing this person on the ground, and I don't know. I just think it's going to be... I mean, it's obviously good for survivors because especially if you're the person who's on the hook, because now it's like, okay, now I can get pulled off for sure. But it's definitely gonna be awkward as fuck, at least in my opinion. But yeah, so you're still not safe on hooking. So I mean, if you're unhooking, the killer will still hack you once, and then by the time you finish the unhook, you can be hit again clearly. You know. But it's like I say, in most cases, you may trade your safety for your friends. But for the really stupidly good survivor groups, I don't think you're going to see this. I don't think that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a blessing. Absolutely. So, so now, perks. Let's discuss perks. The first thing, actually, before we discuss perks, one more thing I forgot. The brand new parts that everybody likes to use. I have actually stated, I think, pretty sure several times, since the last grade reset, so June 13th, leading up to June 13th, I have noticed that survivors finish their gen. Everybody who you can go up against, it's just like ching ching. Like there's matches, and a lot of them, if you watch, you know, you end up slugging or face camping somebody because you down one person and then 2 gens can pop in that amount of time, and like you cannot even be that long into a match for it to happen, because these people will bring their toolkits and they spawn their shit so that they start together or whatever, so they're all starting in one area, and the 3 of them get on a generator, and that generator is popped like so fucking fast, because the extra parts that they install boost the generator progress by 22, which is like fucking crazy. I didn't even know it was that high. I knew it was good, but you know, I never knew it was that good, but apparently it is. So now when a brand new part is installed, they face a difficult skill check. Upon completing the skill check, the generator's charges are going to be reduced by 10, and of course the thing will be consumed just like it was before. So long story short, a brand new part will only save you 10 seconds as opposed to 22.5 seconds. And that's a lot of seconds to be losing. So if you think about that, a gen takes 90 seconds to repair, right? So 22, that's 67 and a half seconds taken off of the first generator. It's no fucking wonder so many goddamn generators pop in the first like 2 minutes of a match. And then people wonder why slugging is becoming so popular. So this is going to slow that down a little bit. Now, if all 4 people are on there, they're only knocking 40 seconds off of a generator. And that's if everybody uses their brand new part on one generator. So that should slow it down quite a bit, because I'm not going to lie, as a killer, the matches go so fast now with the gens that I think this is something that will definitely help. It'll be good. Yeah. I know that's going to piss off the survivor mains, but I'm sorry, I think that's perfectly fair. Perks. So now we'll talk about perks. Coup de grace. Now, coup de grace isn't one I particularly use myself, but usually for coup de grace to work, the survivors finish a generator, and with that, the killer gains 1 token that they can use to do a super long swinging lunge attack, right, with their basic weapon instead of the usual thing. And if it's maxed out, it's like, 80% further than a normal lunge attack, so that's pretty far, right? So basically, it's being changed, because that means you can only use coup de grace up to 5 times in a match, and that's if they repair all 5 generators. Let's say for, stroke of, gameplay or whatever, you managed to wipe the team out and they've only fixed 1 generator. You only got to use coup de grace once that entire match, right? So now they're changing it so that every time a generator is fixed, you can use it twice. So basically it's a buff to twice its power. So every generator that's fixed, the killer gets to do a large swing at 80% the regular distance twice. So if you pop 2 gens in the very beginning, that's 4 massive swings they can take. So that's something really interesting to take into consideration. The next one is very interesting. Claustrophobia, which I was actually kind of surprised is getting a buff, but here it is. Let's take a look at it in here as well, actually. Where is claustrophobia? Oh, I think it was on the last page. Coulrophobia. Well, anyway, maybe I don't have it, but I'll read it here. This perk is activated when a generator is powered. Since basically claustrophobia blocks generators within 32 meters of a completed generator. So if you finish a generator within 32 meters, all of your vault locations become blocked temporarily. So, give the killer a better chance of finding you. Well, it's being buffed, so they're removing the range restrictions. So if a killer is running claustrophobia, which I expect a lot of them are going to start doing now with this buff, the second a generator is finished, all vault locations, windows, not pallets, but windows, they're all going to be blocked for the duration, which is pretty crazy because someone could be finishing a generator on the far side of the map, and if I'm chasing someone on my side of the map, they pop that gen and he's going for the window, that window's going to be blocked and they just fucked over their teammate big time. So I can imagine all the people on mics, don't finish the gen, I'm trying to vault, don't finish the damn gen. So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. But I feel a lot of killers are going to run this because it just says there's no it blocks all vault locations in 32 meters, but they are removing the range restriction. So that would be everything. So every window on the map will be blocked for the timer. That will be insane to deal with. I expect to see that perk a lot more now. I think that's going to be one of the biggest perks that we can get now with killers. If they know that somebody finishing a generator is going to block every vault location, I mean, yeah, it's situational. You could be in cold wind and be out in the middle of the cornfield. It's not going to make any difference to you then. But I can pretty much guarantee you, if you're in the middle of the cornfield chasing someone, they're going for a vault location. They're not sticking around. So, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how that works. But yeah, I suspect that one's going to be very popular now. Next is Hangman's Trick. Hangman's Trick finds itself in a tricky spot. The range is small because hooks are usually very common. So increasing the range would cause it to reveal auras across almost the entire map. So Hangman's Trick will become a Scourge Hook Hangman's Trick. This perk now reveals the auras of survivors within 8, 9, and 10 meters of a Scourge Hook whenever a survivor is being carried. So if you got someone over your shoulder, anyone near a Scourge Hook is going to be 8, 9, or 10 meters, you're going to see them approaching it. So you're going to know if they're going for the sabotage or whatever. I mean, I never bother with the perks like this because it's like, I don't give a fuck if they're going to sabotage, I'm going to drop who I'm carrying and I'm going to fucking slug them and, probably splatter whoever is doing it. But, whatever. The people out there who use this, that will definitely affect your outlook on that a lot more. So next is Territorial Imperative. I am going to... open this one up again. So Territorial Imperative. Get the fuck off my screen. Okay. It's a short aura reading duration, can make it very easy to miss. So they've increased the duration of the aura reveal to 4, 5, and 6 seconds. It was 3 seconds, but now it's 4, 5, and 6 seconds. We have also lowered the distance the killer must be from the basement entrance. Oh yeah, this is the one where they run into the basement, and if you're far enough away as the killer, or close enough as the killer, you can see them in the basement. You see their aura. So basically it's going to be 4, 5, 6 seconds, and the killer, they've lowered the distance the killer must be from 24 meters, we have lowered the distance the killer must be from the basement entrance to 24 meters. It was 32 meters. So to give survivors an opportunity to sneak in for a rescue, we have increased the cooldown of Territorial Imperative to 45 seconds. So it's a buff, nerf, depending on how you want to look at it. Probably mostly a nerf, but there you have it. Then there's Remember Me. This perk can help turn a match around towards the end, but currently is not as effective as you'd like. So each time the Obsession loses a health state, the killer gains a token. Each token increases the opening time of the exit gates by 6 seconds to a maximum of either 12, 18, or 24 seconds. It was 4 seconds per token for for a maximum up to 16. So basically they've upped it all by 4, 6, and fucking whatever, right? So this has been buffed, absolutely. So now every time the Obsession loses a health state, they're going to gain a token, and your exit gate power-up is going to take a lot longer. Up to 24 seconds longer, because you can only get up to 4 tokens. So that's all fine. Hex Crowd Control. Having a window block behind a survivor after they vault, it can come in handy in certain circumstances, but in many cases the survivor can... This doesn't create much pressure on the survivors to find and cleanse the Hex Totem. We are increasing the duration of entity blockers caused by crowd control to 40, 50, and 60 seconds. It was 10, 12, and 14, so this is a massive buff. Survivors want to find and cleanse the totem before it's too late. So that's definitely going to be pretty crazy. So, yeah. Having a window block behind a survivor after they vault. Yeah. And what they mean by outlasting the entity blocker is if we're at, say, the Killer Shack, they can vault the thing, and even if it's blocked, they can take the long way around and, still use the pallet and loop around, and by the time all that shit's done, the window's already unblocked again, because it's only, because it's very short, right? It's only 14 seconds, so, it can be overrun really quickly, but now it can be up to a minute, so that's going to kill a lot of people who are going to be trying to use their loops in that area. It's just not going to happen as much. So I think we're going to see a big boost in crowd control as well, given those kinds of stats. I'm actually considering, I would consider trying that myself. Yes, next is... Next is the Trail of Torment. So the Trail of Torment allows the killer to hide their terror radius and sneak up on survivors. Since it disables the next time a survivor loses a health state, there isn't often much pressure on survivors to venture over and stop the generator from regressing. So basically when you kick a generator, you become undetectable. Here, let's go and look at it. Where is it? What are we in? Oh, there it is. Trail of Torment. So after damaging a generator, you become undetectable until the generator stops regressing, or a survivor is injured or put in the dying state. So, but during this time, the generator's yellow aura is revealed to survivors. So basically, to make this perk buffed and more threatening, it will only deactivate when the affected generator stops regressing, not when a health state is lost. So if I'm undetectable because I kicked that generator, and I go around stomping all these other freaking players, they will not hear me coming until somebody goes and touches the original generator that I kicked. I will be undetectable the entire time. This perk, I think, it also is one you're going to see pop up a lot more now. And people are going to have to be a lot more, pay a lot more attention to any yellow generators on the map and say, holy shit, we can't hear them because, Trail of Torment. So that's definitely going to change a lot of people's usage of that. That's for damn sure. And next, to all you Survivor mains out there, including several of my friends, Prove Thyself is getting a nerf. This perk grants a repair bonus speed for each survivor within a range. Though it is just as efficient to work on separate generators, there's still tremendous value in being able to finish a specific generator very quickly. So to bring this perk in line, we are reducing the repair speed bonus to 6, 8, and 10% per nearby survivor. It was 15. We have also removed the blood point bonus for co-op repairs, so you don't get extra blood points for using it anymore, and it's going to be reduced to a maximum of 10%, down from 15%, which, again, to slower their ability to continue to pop out these gens as fast as they are. And as I've said, playing as a killer, I've noticed it big time. A lot of people, everybody in the match, somebody's got fucking Prove Thyself. It's absolutely, it's up there, in my opinion, probably with Dead Hard. It's very rare for me to play a match where somebody isn't running Prove Thyself and Dead Hard and fucking Adrenaline and blah, blah, blah. We could go on and on about the fucking builds, right? Boil over. But so Prove Thyself is getting a little nip in the ass to bring it down a notch, which I'm okay with, because I think some of the matches now go a little too fast in that sense. And finally, here we go, Blast Mine. So few things are more crushing than installing Blast Mine on a generator for the killer to simply not kick the generator and chase after people or you or whatever, right? And then your trap expires its timer, because it only has a timer on it, right? So they've increased the duration of the Blast Mine to 100, 110, and 120 seconds. It was 35, 40, and 45. So a massive boost to those. That's really cool. Because I've actually used Blast Mine, but yeah, it's absolutely true. Sometimes you just don't want to bother, because you're like, well, you can slam that sucker in there and run off, but he chooses to chase me down and kick my ass or go after whoever else was there, right? Because you try to stay like on the generator as long as possible so you can click that Blast Mine and run at the last second before he hits you, just to try to like ensure that there's a bigger chance that he'll kick this generator, right? But there you have it. So it's getting a buff. Now we have Wiretap. It's in a similar position to Blast Mine, so they're going to change it up. They've increased the duration of Wiretap to 100, 110, and 120 seconds. It was 60, 70, and 80. We have also normalized the activation requirements and text descriptions between Blast Mine and Wiretap, meaning Wiretap will now activate after 50% worth of the generator was repaired. So kind of a trade-off. If you're going to use Wiretap, it's no longer at 33% of completion. To activate Wiretap, it has to be 50% of the generator completed before you can activate Wiretap. Which again, I think I'm okay with that. I don't use Wiretap myself, but I know, I understand its functionality enough to do that. Because Wiretap being here, let's go look at Wiretap. Oh, I mean killers. Whatever. Yeah, I know, Wormy, I'm stupid, I should have been paying attention. My bad. But anyways, yeah, Wiretap is the Ada Wong perk, where I think, what does it reveal? The killer's aura when they're within a certain range. So, yeah. Saboteur is getting a buff. How about that? Who'da thunk? So, Saboteur. So everybody who likes to sabotage a hook. Long story short, we have reduced the time it takes to sabotage a hook without a toolbox to 2.3 seconds. It was 2.5 originally. So Saboteur is just two fractions of a second faster, which honestly can be the difference between you landing that hit before they fucking make the destruction and then managing to get away. I think if you're like right there when they start to do the hack, that's probably going to be your best chances at actually downing them before they sabo the hook for you. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So this way, we've also adjusted the cooldown to 70, 65, and 60. It was 90, 75, and 60. So now it's going to be 70, 65, and then 60. So the the highest peak being 60 seconds will remain, but the first and second tiers have been reduced. So it's a buff, for sure. So Clairvoyance. Aura reading can be handy, but sometimes there's only so many totems to go around. Clairvoyance will now activate upon blessing a totem in addition to cleansing. Because before you had to break a totem and then it shows you the auras and everything. Well, now if you bless a totem, you see the auras as well. So that's pretty cool. I mean, call it what you will. I guess it's a buff. I guess it's kind of not either. I guess it just depends on how you want to look at it. But it's a step. It's one more thing you can do to activate the perk. So it's a buff in my opinion. Breakout. Breakout helps you save a friend by putting yourself in harm's way. With the spacing between hooks, it can be very difficult for survivors to wiggle out before getting hooked. Though we don't want this to be too common, we found that it wasn't coming into play often enough. Breakout now increases the wiggle speed of the carried survivor by 25%, was 20%. However, to make this more risky, Breakout now activates within a 5-meter range, and it was 6 meters. Now, Breakout, I never freaking used. I know I've been on the receiving end of it, I'm pretty fucking sure, but let's go see what Breakout. Ugh. Ouch. Okay. Let's look at your perk shit here. Do we have Breakout? We should, I would think. Breakout? I don't have Breakout. It must be with a survivor that I don't have maxed out. Who has fucking Breakout then? Fast track, smash hit, self-preservation. Actually, let's just fucking Google this fucking thing real quick. Day by daylight, break. Oh, Breakout. A unique perk belonging to Yui Kim. What? Wasn't I just looking at her? Oh, it's the motorbike one. Is that not Yui? Oh no, that's Yunchi. Alright, that would explain why it's not her. I think that's Serena. Where is Yui Kimura? I do not see her. What the shit? Oh, there she is. Yeah, it's her fucking motorbike perk. I remember I tried using that once in a while. There it is, Breakout. Within 6 meters of a carried survivor, you gain the haste status effect moving at 6% increased speed. The carried survivor's wiggle speed is increased by 20%. So, yeah, that's definitely gonna be an interesting one. So, let me get rid of this switch. So, yeah, so it increases the wiggle speed by 5%, which is pretty good. It was 20. However, to make it more risky, you have to be within 5 meters. So you have to be 1 meter closer, which will definitely reveal people to you. I used to see this one a lot more than I do now. I think just because more people have realized that you can use their fucking, other boil over builds and whatever that are a little more effective. But I do remember I used to see this every once in a while. So, yeah. Maybe we'll see a resurgence. And then we have Buckle Up. You can't always be guaranteed in the first place, so when a perk like Buckle Up comes into play, we want to make sure that it's impactful. We have revisited the perk and given it a new effect. When you heal a survivor from the dying state, both you and that survivor will gain the endurance status effect. So that's actually pretty good, especially for all these little Sabo squads who like to fucking, and boil over people. You're definitely going to have a bunch of people who are going to, run their boil over, and then you're going to have the fuckers who are running Buckle Up who can run in to try to, speed pick these fucking people up. Well, now they're going to be able to pick them up and be able to take an extra hit on top of it, right? Because if you get to them, they have the endurance. You hit them, they just take off. So you're definitely going to see a lot of people doing that because it's going to guarantee that they can't get fucking downed for trying to pick someone up if they're injured too, right? And if they're not injured, they're going to get away, Yeah. I think that one's, we're going to see a lot more Buckle Up now. I mean, not to say that we don't already. I feel like I see Buckle Up quite a bit already. But there you have it. Smash Hit. Stunning the killer with a pallet is sometimes easier said than done. To make Smash Hit a more interesting choice, we have reduced the duration of exhaustion to 30, 25, and 20 seconds. It was 60, 50, and 40, so they've been cut in half. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. They've halved the durations on those. I mean, that's a big deal. Those are cut pretty short compared to what they used to be, considering it was a minute and 50 and 40. Yeah. Then Spine Chill. This is really funny to me because they talk about the freaking visual terror radius. For all you people out there who are totally, you know, deaf and hard of hearing, right? Which is basically everybody in the Dead by Daylight community who played Survivor, except for like me and a few other people who just don't do it because I don't like playing as ET. But that's just me. But yeah, so Spine Chill was often used by deaf or hard of hearing players to give themselves some sort of indication of the killer's terror radius. When Spine Chill was reworked, we made sure to keep the element unchanged until a proper accessibility setting could be introduced. Well, they have finally come up with that. Now that the visual terror radius is available, they're removing the terror radius visualization aspect of Spine Chill. So basically they're just saying, well, you guys are already using the frickin' glowing heart thing, so you don't need it in Spine Chill as well. So they're basically plucking that out of Spine Chill now. So Spine Chill got a nerf of sorts. Now we have killer tweaks, actual killer tweaks. The Executioner, Pyramid Head, has built-in mechanic to prevent him from camping a survivor in one of his cages, and I didn't even know this was a thing. Because, I mean, whenever I play the Executioner and I send someone to a Cage of Atonement, they go to the other side. I know they go to the other side of the map or whatever, and I've never given two shits about it. But apparently if you come within 5 meters of the cage, it will disappear and respawn on the other side of the map to keep him from face camping it. I didn't know that was a thing, but at the same time I never tried, so I never cared. But the range is fairly small, which means the killer can stay by and wait nearby for survivors to move in. To make this mechanic a little more effective, we are increasing its range to 10 meters, so now twice the distance. If the killer gets in range of the Cage of Atonement, the person will teleport somewhere else. So, okay. Yeah, I find that really interesting. I think that could get trolly too, though, couldn't it? Because, like, if a survivor is in their cage and you see the other survivors are going to it, wouldn't you just have to run into the range to get it to teleport across the map and be away from them as well? I mean, wouldn't that work? So I don't know. Like, what if you're on a really small-ass map like fucking Midwich Elementary, the Silent Hill map? And that's a really small map. So what if, like, the guy's upstairs and you run underneath him? Will that frickin' teleport him to the other side of the map and whoever was just trying to rescue him? I mean, I suppose theoretically there'll be somebody else on the other side of the map anyway. But still, wouldn't that happen? I just feel like you could keep someone in the cage longer by doing it that way. Just be like, yeah, I'm just going to run over here and then he'll teleport there and I'll go straight in. I mean, you don't see the aura of the cage, but you have a pretty good idea of approximately where they will end up. So, I don't know. I find that one really interesting. But at the same time, I didn't even know it was a thing, so apparently it is. And now I've got some interesting fucking news here because I started playing Spirit as of last night really effectively. So the Spirit is getting some changes. So her add-ons, yeah, each of the add-ons increases the duration of the Yamaoka's haunting. However, since the Spirit's power recharges over set time, the add-ons had a hidden secondary effect of making her power recharge faster. These add-ons will no longer cause Yamaoka's haunting to recharge faster. Their respective duration increases remain unchanged. And then they go on to list all the various changes to her stuff. So, because they no longer have increased the recovery rate, they want to ensure that all options were available if you still want your power to recover faster. So the original Crane now increases the recovery rate of the haunting by 20%, which was 10. The Rusty Flute receiving an increase in light of the changes above, so the recovery rate of the haunting by 40%. It was 25. And the Hag is also receiving a few add-on adjustments. Yeah, so basically, her stuff is getting slight add-on buffs because they are, what do you call it? They're being removed overall or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I've only really just started. I'm still kind of learning the ins and outs of all her add-ons, so to have them all mixed up now is going to make things more interesting. They're also changing the iridescent one, which was Mother-Daughter Ring. Increases the spirit's movement speed during Yamaoka's haunting. It's currently far stronger than they want, so they're reducing the movement speed to 25%. It was a 40% speed increase before. Now it will only be 25. So I never used the stupid ring myself because I very rarely like the iridescent add-ons, personally. There's some that are really good. I mean, Pinhead has a really good iridescent add-on. Wormy has a really good iridescent add-on. Huntress, obviously, with her one-hit hatchets. But personally, for the most part, I've never taken a particularly big liking to a lot of the iridescent add-ons. So let's go up and just sort of look at Rin here. Here she is. Yeah. You know it, girly. So... Oops, no. So yeah, mother-daughter ring. But scratch marks, see, it doesn't say this in here, because scratch marks are no longer visible while you're using the haunting, but it increases the movement speed to 40%. So I find that very interesting that, you mean, you're not even able to see where the survivors are. That was why you got such a good speed boost. But at the same time, they're reducing it now, so to almost half. But, like I said, I'm kind of thrilled I never used the thing to begin with now, because they're just going to nerf it anyway. Instantly recharges the haunting. Yeah, that one's not changing at all. But the dried cherry blossoms. Survivors trigger killer instinct when they come within 4 meters of the spirit while she's phasing. So, you know, you're running along, but scratch marks, again, are not visible. So you're running along, and then the heartbeat starts when you get, like, really close to them, so you can track them when you're really close. It's now going to be reduced. So it's going to be 3 meters instead of 4. So you have to be practically right beside them, touching them, in order for the thing to activate. But I don't think that's particularly going to be a deadly thing. I don't see myself ever using this anyway, because I like to be able to see the fucking scratch marks. But if I was using it, okay, I guess I just gotta get a little bit closer, right? But yeah, so there you go. We have reduced the killer instinct range of dried cherry blossoms to 3... Oh, yeah, we just read that. So, that's that. And I think we read... Oh yeah, so after that, they're boosting some of the hag stuff. And I haven't gotten to the hag yet. But she is getting some adjustments. Waterlogged, she removes her ability to teleport to her phantasm traps, but slows nearby survivors, while providing the hag with a permanent movement speed boost. It's not doing as well as we'd like, so they increased the movement speed bonus to 7.5%, and it was 4.5. She's gonna be fucking Speedy Gonzalez coming at you now. And I think that's gonna be really fucking scary for the, like, 3 people who actually play the hag that you go up against. I feel like they're going to be a lot faster now. So, yeah, definitely a buff. Mint Rag, the hag can teleport to any phantasm trap in the trial, even if they haven't been triggered, but it has a 15-second cooldown. This can allow for interesting mind games, but the long cooldown makes it very punishing if you use it at the wrong time, so they reduced it to 10 seconds. So, slight buff. Half eggshell and cracked turtle egg. The add-ons increase the duration of triggered phantasm traps, allowing her more time to get in range to teleport, and a longer window to teleport in the chase. Both are underperforming, so we're giving them an increase. So the duration 45% was 30, and the cracked turtle egg increases the phantasm trap duration by 55%, was 35%. So those are getting a boost. And wow, wouldn't you know, this motherfucking Coldwind Farm. So Coldwind Farm is getting its update. Recently we had the update to the Red Forest where they added a whole crap ton of trees now. That's practically a fucking jungle in there. And a lot of, stuff. So Coldwind Farm is getting a balancing update. A little more killer-sided, I feel. Which, personally, I'm fine with, because if you've watched any of my streams in the last probably month, you've heard me do nothing but bitch about Azerov and Coldwind. Because Coldwind is the one, I think the last fucking while that I was playing Wormy before I started doing all the random killers, Coldwind and Azeroth, hands down, are the absolute majority maps that I'm played on. Probably Coldwind more for Wormy. Actually, so many freaking Coldwind maps. I could go on about this for a long time. So anyway, Coldwind's getting some changes. The Fractured Cowshed, which apparently is one of the worst ones. I don't really know. I just know when I go to Coldwind, it's all basically the same shit, just a slightly different layout. That's how I see most of the maps, but yeah, some are definitely worse. And the Rancid Abattoir. For the most... makes it the way it is now makes it very easy for survivors to run from one pallet to another with very little risk of being caught in between. Second, the barn itself was a fairly strong setup for survivors, allowing them to waste quite a bit of the killer's time before leaving. Third, the center of the map is mostly empty, featuring only corn. Once any generators in the corn are completed, yeah, you literally have to walk laps around the entirety of the map, unless you're a killer who can teleport or something to jump around the map. Yeah, you have nothing but a gigantic circle and no man's land in the middle nobody gives a fuck about, right? So if you want to try to patrol stuff, yeah, you're left in a big ass circle, making it very time consuming. To remedy this, we've made significant changes to the layout of the map, breaking up the strong outer ring tiles in the process. Additionally, they have made some adjustments to the layer of the barn itself, which is now slightly closer to the middle of the map. So it's being scooched closer into the middle to empty most of the cornfield out and give slightly more cover. I think that overall will be good for everybody, because if you think about it, the killers, you don't have to make these long dashes clean through the center of the map where there's nothing to hide in but, you know, the cornfield, which may or may not work for you. But yeah, we've all been caught out in the middle of the field. The match that I grew to hate Myers on because of his bullshit tombstone was on Coldwind Farm, because I started in the middle of the cornfield. He found me immediately because there was fuck all I can do about it, because I'm in the middle of nowhere. He chased me to the first loop and caught me around the corner and insta-killed me, which is why I hate Myers. And one of the main reasons I don't like Coldwind, because it's just a big goddamn wide open field. So this, moving the barn closer to the center, is going to reduce that empty, huge-ass chunk of nothing, which I think will be a good thing for everybody, because it's going to give the killer more places to ambush from. It's going to give survivors less distance to run to get to, you know, potentially loops and safe area and whatever, right? But that's what that is. So that's pretty cool. Because until I read this, I never really thought of it that way, that, yeah, if they finish the center gens first, then, yeah, everything is around a massive outer ring around the map, and there's nothing anywhere else. So, yeah. So that's that, and they're, like they said, they're putting it to the center of the map to reduce its overall strength. Which I do agree with. As for the Rancid Abattoir, depending on how the map is generated, the slaughterhouse could feature strong setups for survivors, allowing them to waste a good amount of killer time. Additionally, the large freezer in the center of the building features a single entrance and nothing important to gameplay. No pallets or windows. Yeah, and that's very true, leaving very little reason for people to ever go in there. Like, there's multiple times as a survivor I go by there and it's like, oh, it's just this fucking room that has the fucking meat hanging in it. And absolutely, there's been a couple times people have tried to go inside the door and hide in that far corner inside the doorway to mixed effect, but overall there's no reason, there's never anything in there. There's not a chest, there's nothing, so it's literally an empty space but serving no purpose. So they've updated the layout of the slaughterhouse to make stronger setups less effective. We've also opened the wall in the back of the freezer to allow players a place to run through now. So now you have an extra area that you can cross through the building in, through that room that used to be nothing. So that's cool. Across the entire rim, you'll notice updates on the corn tiles, which they mean individual squares. I don't give a fuck about the game enough to know what fucking how big the tiles are and blah blah blah, but I know it's a specific section of the map, because like each map is made up of set amount of tiles, kind of like a checkerboard, and then, you know, each tile has specific things in it, and then whatever. But yeah, so as well as the updated edges of the map, of the outer fences, they're going to look a little different and updated, just like, again, the Red Forest got the update and it has this huge fort-like fence walls and shit around it now, right? So you're going to see more of that stuff now. So all in all, folks, that is that's the update we're getting. And it's definitely got my head turning because there's so many things in there that I think are going to be very interesting to see implemented. I'm definitely looking forward to the updates on Coldwind Farm. Somebody else I was watching, another TTVer, much bigger than I am. You probably heard of him, Spook and Jukes. I saw a video for him actually. Just I sort of watched his thing to see what his take on a lot of it was, and he said we really need an update to Backwater Swamp. I was like, yeah, that fucking swamp needs a goddamn update. It's so small and it's so boring and so stupid. So yeah, expand on that thing. Shape it more like the Eyrie of Crows. Make it like, cross-shaped instead of just a tiny ass little fucking cube. That would be improvement. I wouldn't mind it as much if it had something new to offer instead of just a small ass little fucking area to die or be kill or be died in. To either kill or be killed in. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of good potential in a lot of these changes. For good or ill. I don't want to see, the fucking... I'm not a basement face camping Bubba, so I don't see the, I, like other killers, lose a lot more by losing the grab off the thing. But I think what we'll just start doing now is I'm going to try to start, when I'm playing the games and I see them going, I'm just going to start hacking people now. I'm going to start hacking everybody to just get myself used to the whole method of just chopping people down before they even get to the hook. So that way, I've got it down. And if multiple people are going, yeah, go for as many injuries as we can and try to start... I hate to say it, start slugging fucking people around the hook if you need to, just to sort of ensure that even if they get this other person off the hook, you can still throw another person up there right away. It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. But, yeah, overall, those are the changes. And I'm definitely thrilled to see a lot of those fucking, prove thyself and all that take a slight hit in the ass, because I think those perks need to. Same with the spare part thing, because, yeah, so many matches where it's like, it's not even through fault. It's like the match starts, you walk across the mountain, by the time you find someone, and down it's like ching ching, and it's like, okay, so already you're fucking popping 2 gens, and it's not like I got looped for 5 minutes or something. Like, it's literally legitimately like the time it can take you to find someone on a larger scale map, like fucking Coldwind or Azeroth, for example. And then by the time you catch them and down them, it's like ching, ching, ching. They're just like 3 fucking gens are gone. And you're like, okay, yeah, you guys totally aren't setting yourselves up to be slugged, camped, and tunneled. But, it'll be kind of good to see that slow down just a little bit. If I had to look at it from a perspective like that, if I had to look at it from the perspective, I would sort of say it's like the gen progression needs to be slowed down by that, like, by about 25%. I think that would draw out matches just a little bit more favorably. Like, I've been using Spirit, and either people will finish generators fast, or I will destroy them before they get more than 1 generator done. So circumstances like that. But in other cases, like, like Deathslinger, because I was using him a lot before, and now I find I've stepped back from Deathslinger a lot now, simply because of all the how fast the gens go, and he's not built for he's not built to be fast in that sense. At least I don't consider him to be. Spirit is fast. She can maneuver the map extremely fast. She can fucking jump out of her phasing thing where she's invisible and literally hit somebody. She's, in that way, she's like, she's almost a superior version over the nurse. In her maneuverability anyway, because the nurse can blink through a wall, but the Spirit can run around the wall almost as fast as a blink, and she can lash out, and she doesn't get fatigued afterwards, and the nurse does, because that's where 90% of the nurse's faults are, is in her immovability. She can blink through walls and the floor and the roof and whatever else, but at the same time, she's slow as fucking shit. So, I mean, That's kind of your exchange. But Spirit here, she's really fucking quick. And it's like I was doing last night. There's so many loops, even big ones, where they slam that fucking pallet and they're standing on the other side, and I kind of walk behind the rock and start the phase, and I'll either hear them vault and I can go back really quickly and fucking lash out and catch them as they slide back across that pallet, or I can go around. Usually I've caught so many people in the centers of pallets and downed them before they can slam the pallet on me now. It boggles my mind. And it's all because of her phasing ability is so quickly. I think by the time people realize it's happening, it's already too late. So, yeah. It's definitely, we're definitely going to see some interesting things. Because like I said, with her, gen rushing is either a non-existent problem or it's a decent annoyance. And I'm not even going to be the best player with this killer, as I've only really just started with her. So there's going to be people out there who are even better with her much better with her than I'll ever be. And I feel like them, like pallet or gens, isn't even going to be a problem because she's just going to overwhelm people so quickly. I mean, look at that match I had. I would have just uploaded it to YouTube where I destroyed a team in minutes probably, because I got the first person on the hook and they started coming around trying to go for the rescues, and it was like just regular cut, and then I'd phase around the other side and boom, down. Another person was coming in, I'd phase back over there, pow, hit her on the hook, she'd run, I'd catch her. Like I can't even think about like what the name of the match was. I'm gonna look it up right now. Actually, my phone is charged, and it was insane how fast I trashed these people, because it just blew my mind. It really did. Where is it? Huh. Tis not the, oh, there we go. Manage some videos. I think I called it like bad start or something like that, because it was really bad. Window fishing, portal. She was like that when I got here. Rough start, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait, no. That might have been the... Maybe it was the clown. Well, I know I had one with the spirit as well. It's probably in the stream if I didn't upload the video individually. But I know I had one where I trashed everybody. It was on RPD. Now that I think about that, I remember that. I know what it was. Actually, I didn't record it because I went friendly in the end. But, cause I killed them. I destroyed them. All four were out by one hook. Because I got the person on the hook, they all came in. The person they were on a generator, I phased in, I cut the initial person, they separated, I cut another person who was running away, I downed him, I went back up the stairs. The other person was still there, trying to fix the gen again for some stupid reason. I mean, that was a dumbass rookie mistake, but still. Boom, down she went, then I picked her up and threw her ass on the hook. Then, like, one of the other people came running in, and I think I grabbed him and tossed him or something, like... It was bad. And then the last one was trying to loot me in the pallets by the air conditioner, and she like slammed the pallet, and I phased around, and sliced down she went. And then I think maybe somebody had Unbreakable, and they came up to try and do it too, and it was just like phase, sliced down. I know it was over really quick. It was brutal how efficiently the spirit took everybody out in such a small area, and yeah, so in some cases the gen rushing isn't as noticeable as it will be in others, but yeah, I think a lot of I think slower gens overall will just be better for everybody, because in the end, the longer you're in the game, the more chances you have to earn points, really. And yeah, I know the more chances as a survivor you have to be killed, obviously, but I play survivor as well, and I think that, looking at it from both perspectives, just think that as killer and as survivor, gen rushing is too big a deal, because at the same vein, like I said, the faster, if you guys get into a match and you pop 3 gens before the killer gets somebody downed, having played as a killer in that circumstance myself, I am far more likely to tunnel the person off the fucking hook, because they're the closest thing I'm going to get to a fatality at 2 gens. If they're the first person on the hook, That's the closest I am to getting my first kill, and I'm not going to pass that up to be fair. I'm going to go for what points I can get, because at that point, if they've already popped 3 gens and I've only just hooked somebody, my chances of getting everybody on the hooks before those multiple times and getting a fatality before the last 2 gens are done is probably going to be non-existent. So that's why it's just like, nope. I just think the gen rush, the fast gens right now as it is definitely something that's contributing to a lot of slugging and a lot of the sweaty killer antics that people complain so much about right now. And I can just say, I think it's good to just lower that, because it'll lower the probability of that. Because I'm an average killer. I'm not the best in the world, but I'm not the worst either. And I know that if I'm going after somebody and in one genre and one takedown, if I get 4 hooks and not a single generator has been done, okay, I'm far less likely to be tunneling, camping, and all that other stuff, because I don't need to, because the game is progressing decently for me. But if it's the polar opposite, where 4 gens are completed and I haven't done a single hook, oh yeah, motherfucker's gonna get face camped or whatever. Like, it's gonna be every ruthless thing I can do, because and you have to look at it from this perspective. If you're the survivors and the killer has only just gotten 1 hook and you guys have finished 4 gens already, you're not going to let up. You're not going to be fucking friendly about it. You're going to finish that generator. You're going to get those exit gates ready, and you're all going to fucking escape. I mean, with 3 people loose on the map and only 1 person on their first hook, you're going to finish. The 3 of you could band together and do 1 generator in what? Probably 40 seconds, because it's 90 seconds normally, and then times 3, or divide by 3. Like, it's not going to take very long at all. So the faster you guys do gens, the nastier the killers are going to get, because I've been on both ends of that spectrum. So I can understand why, and it still sucks when I'm the survivor and we're just better than the killer and you're outmaneuvering them, but it still leads to that mentality of, I have to defend the 1 piece of meat that I've got on a fucking hook, right? So yeah, I will look forward to Prove Thyself and the stupid extra part getting nipped in the ass, to slow that down a bit, because while I do like playing with Spirit, and as I said, I can stop gen progression relatively effectively with her for the most part, or at least be balanced with hooks to gens being repaired, a ratio being favorable kind of for both sides. It is still, for other killers, like I said, my Deathslinger, I haven't really played with him in a long time, because the gen pressure with him seems so much slower. So it's like, you go where you can get the pressure on, right? So it just makes sense, yeah. But with a nerf to the speed at which everybody's finishing all these generators, and I keep reactivating the controller because I don't know if it's cutting my mic sound out or not. But yeah, so I just think it's overall going to be better for the game in every way, shape, or form, and I look forward to the changes, especially the disconnection bots, because like I said, I've had so many matches where it's like 1 person DCs and it's like, fuck. And then I feel sad for them, because it's like, well, they just DC'd, and I want to, nobody likes being 3 survivors versus 1 killer and all generators remain. So it's just like, yeah. And like, I had that happen, I think, fairly recently, and it was the Grave of Glenvale, which is the frickin', the Deathslinger map, the Old West, and it's like, that's a small map. So to suddenly lose a whole player who can't be fixing gens, I mean, then the Deathslinger finds somebody, that's now only 2 people who can be doing gens instead of 3. Like, it's, if you're on a gigantic map like Azeroth, at least you have lots of space to maneuver around and try and, avoid the killer. But on a place like Grave of Glenvale, you're so screwed. And to have a bot take over, it's fantastic. The bot will go on the hook. When you unhook them, they'll help you out. If the killer tunnels them out, well, at least it's not another player being tunneled. It'll be, It'll be a bot at least, but it'll definitely give people more chances to do everything. And on top of that, it's gonna give kill, because as a killer too, there's matches where I want to fucking kill everybody. Okay, I want to wipe out the whole. I want the 4K. All right, and there's so many times it's like you come on really strong in the beginning because you're just you're trying to win, and the opportunities like that Resident Evil level, like I told you, on the rooftop, and I massacred all four of them, wiped the floor with all four of them on the roof. And in the time it took me, like, because I put the first person on the hook, and by the time the third person went down, the first person on the hook wasn't on their second stage yet. They weren't there yet, and they just clicked the button and killed themselves on the hook because they're like, well, it's game over, we're all dead. Even though it was kind of like, I don't even think I could reasonably carry them all to a hook. But yeah, so they were, it's situations like that where, I mean, the person on hook killed himself, but somebody on the ground, I think, DC'd as well, because it's like, well, she's killing herself on the hook, we're all slugged because with nowhere to go, and so they just DC. So now they're down 2 people, and it was like, my God. And so I picked them up, and the thing was that I was running friendly killers, like I wasn't streaming it or anything. Like I said, I was just doing it offline because, again, I was messing around with the spirit, learning how to use it. Well, apparently I learned how to use it really good because, like I said, I phased around. I took everybody out on that one rooftop and overwhelmed them, and it was just like, wow. So the DCs, they happen, and then boom, I could have brought them back. My 100th episode, actually, my 100th match as killer was Nemesis at RPD, and I wanted to do Nemesis and RPD because Nemesis was the first killer I ever got a 3K or 4K with. And if you go through my YouTube, Bot Whisperer, go to my, killer matches, the very first match is in the game, the map, the pigs map, and it's me as Nemesis. It's actually pretty hard to watch. There's so many times I'm like, oh, I'm gonna throw a punch here that's gonna miss by my. I can just see where I'm gonna screw up, and sure enough, yeah, like you can go back and watch it. So anyway, for my 100th, I was like, well, I should revisit Nemesis and use him again because I hadn't. And I was like, I'm gonna go to RPD too because it's his map, and I like that map, and I just wanted to have my potentially 100th victory on that map. And it was 3 DCs and 1 surrender at the end because they all just gave up. It was really tragic. And it's honestly one of my favorite matches because I think I did really good with my like tentacle lashes and my hits and everything. Like it all went very well. But they all quit out. So I was like, okay, that's great. Because I got the first person on a hook, I did a lap around the main area because he's hooked behind the thing, and behind the main hall desk or whatever in that kind of broken off area in front of the statue. Got him on the hook there, and then his little girlfriend, who I assume is his girlfriend, came running in playing as Lori or whatever, his best friend. I just say boy and girl because they were a boy and a girl, but you get what I mean. So she came in, and I knew she was there because when I had gone to put him on the hook, she tried to run a distraction. So I threw him on the hook, and I did a lap around the thing. First, because the generator had some progression on, I wanted to make sure that the third one, the Fang Min, hadn't tried to reactivate it while I was putting her friend on the hook. She didn't, so then I continued the loop around up beside where what's his name was, because that's where I had last seen Lori, and sure enough she came booking it through the door, so I punched her on the way by. She went to the hook, and I waited till she was unhooking, then I tentacle lashed her to infect her. Then I charged at him. He came at me, because she rescued him. He came at me, and I ignored him because I was like, I'm not going to tunnel him. I'm going to, go after her. And I did. I went after her. She went through the office and did her little jump over the thing. And I tentacle lashed through the doorway and I downed her right there. I continued down the short little steps and walked around, and he came in like the brave hero he was, and he vaulted the thing and he landed and he dead hearted away so I couldn't hit him, and I chased after him and he hung the left and he slammed the pallet and I tentacle lashed him and I downed him and he quit. And I was like, dude, that was a great fucking hustle, but come on, it was a fair hit. It wasn't even like I was dirty or something. I lashed him fair and square, and he quit out. So I was like, oh, that's too bad. So I went back, picked her up, took her into the next room, which is the room which has the, unicorn statue where people can hop down. Sometimes there's a generator. And then I threw his ass onto that, or I threw her ass on that hook, and as she went on the hook, she DC'd too. So now we were down 2 people. And only one person had been hooked by this point, by the way, other than, Buddy, who decided to be a hero and got downed for it a second time. But, aside from that, I had found Tap right at the beginning, and I chased him, caught him, put him on a hook, and then I went looking for everybody else, and they rescued him, and by that time, whatever, I got those 2 taken out, and they both DC'd. So now there was 4 generators left, I think, and the other 2 were alone. It was you're not gonna, the chances of survival are pretty much 0, right? And so I was okay, so I was just walking around the place, and I found her in the hall outside the Star's office, tentacle lashed her, because she was just standing there, and she was, she was standing by the wall, and I hit her with the tentacle, and she DC'd. And I was oh, okay. So that's 3 DCs, and the match is over for frickin' poor Tap, and Tap is standing, and I went up to the main hall, and Tap has just sort of walked out, and he was just standing there, he's come on, just fucking kill me, because it's over. And I did kill him, sadly, and I didn't think about it, because remember I'd already hooked him once, I beat him up, and I threw his ass on the hook, and that was when I realized, I was I should have let him get the hatch. But I was whatever. But to look back on that, if they had only had maybe 1 gen done, or maybe even 2, I don't remember, I'd have to go back and look at it. Let's say worst case scenario, they only had 1 generator done by this point. That's one dude left with nothing, and if I kill him, it's game over. But I mean, the only other option is to let him escape, or let him fix the generators and get himself some points, right? Well, this way with bots now, it's boom, as soon as I tentacle lashed that guy's ass and he quit, boom, well now there's a bot there. As soon as I threw her on the hook, boom, well now that person is a bot on the hook. And then up in the hallway, if that person's well, I don't want to play with bots and one other person, I'm quitting, and they quit, well, boom, there would have been another bot. But guess what? There still would have been a game to play. And that's the kind of the good thing about it, is that match, even though I had really good beginning, it could have continued to a proper ending. So, oh, shit. Well, I will be right back, 1 sec. All right. So yeah, as I was saying, I think things will be in that on bots because these are things that will be very beneficial to keeping games that would stagnate or die off going. Personally, I wouldn't care if everybody quit out of a match, which I've also had. I had that in a match with Wormy on the Yamaoka estate, actually, where I went after them and I was just laying waste to them, and they all quit out because they didn't quite strategize the way I think they intended to. So, yeah, that would keep a game like that going, which I think is beneficial to everybody because any survivor willing to stay in there with the bots, they still have the chance to fix their gens and earn themselves more blood points and, play the match out as opposed to everybody else. And the killer still gets to, play it through the match and lay waste to, the survivors. Because, yeah, sometimes matches just go south really fast, and I've definitely been on both ends of that as a killer and a survivor, and if that can be extended, fucking hey, like, yeah, let's do it. Now that when somebody DCs, it'll just be like, oh well, we have a bot now. Well, that's all I got to add to this for the time being. I am Bot Whisperer, and I hope you liked my, or whatever, cared to listen to anything I've been rambling about the last hour or two. It's probably been about 2 hours, hasn't it? I could see it being 2 hours by now. Ooh, an hour and a half. I'm a faster talker than I thought. Nice. So yeah, please do check out my other streams and my other stuff on YouTube, just Bot Whisperer. You can see all the matches and things I mentioned before. They're all on there. And yeah, I'll see you guys next stream, which should be actually right away because I'm obviously going to play today. So I'm going to end this stream, but then I'm going to start an actual stream. I didn't want to talk about all this crap and then start matches after the fact. I just wanted to talk about this now and get it done as its own separate little thing, and then, whatever. Yeah. So thanks to whoever is at home watching right now. I appreciate the view. And as I said, I will be starting this right back up. I'm just literally going to go to the bathroom and take a leak, and then I will be back here. And yes, I'll even wash my hands. And then I will be back here, and we're going to play around with some more spirit and stuff because, we still got 8 days left to earn us some points and get as much for Rin and Wormy as we can. I would like to get Wormy to at least 80. It's like I said, I'm growing kind of weary of just going for points and shit, so might just, do a stream of screwing around and doing whatever and come with me. So, yeah. I will see you all momentarily. Thank you. Have a good one.